Hello everyone, welcome to Tathastu-ICS. I hope you all are doing good. Well, today we are going to talk about Cinematography Amendment Bill 2023. This is a bill which has been taking the rounds of Parliament for last 4 years, since 2019. Okay, but finally it has been passed by the Rajya Sabha also. Earlier it has been passed by the Lok Sabha. So it is very much certain that it will get the President's assent and it will become an act. Finally, it is something which is this film industry has been demanding for a very long time. There's a photo of 4 superstars with whom our cinema has evolved with the time. There's also a photo of mine, but because of the time crunch we use it, so please don't be mad on this thing. Now what's the news? We'll cover the news and we'll cover the significance of this bill. So the news is that Rajya Sabha has recently passed the Cinematography Amendment Bill 2023 and it introduced stringent anti-piracy provisions, expanding the scope of the law from censorship to cover copyright. Okay, so this is the prominent parts of the bill. This bill, which has been for the first time, which has been tabled in the Lok Sabha in 2019, at that point in time, it was only talking about the piracy. Now, what is piracy? Piracy is when someone records a film, when someone collects the data of the film, records audio, records the video, and then distributes it without the permission of the creator of that particular movie. Okay, so this is the basic definition of piracy. And earlier this bill was only covering the parts of piracy. Okay, but now it has also covered the copyright acts from censorship. Earlier it was only about the censorship, but now it has moved on. It has incorporated the things regarding copyright. Eventually, it means now it will address the issues of intellectual property rights also. Okay, it seeks to amend the Cinematography Act of 1952, which authorizes the Central Board of Film Certification (CBFC), which has been in the news for last 4, 5, 6 years because of its roles because of its dynamics with the film industries. That it has been accused that for few films it is very lenient, for certain films it is very strict, and this is because the government has a role in it. But this has also been clarified. This particular issue has also been rectified in this particular bill. So let's look at it. In 1952, this Cinematography Act of 1952, it was introduced at that point in time, keeping in mind the culture, the idea of India, and the tolerance level of India. Okay, so since then the CBFC board is working in this on the basis of this particular act. And as we have been constantly discussing about these things, that this Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita bill, which has been proposed and it will be passed with time. So why it has been proposed? Because for last 150 years we have been following the Indian Penal Code. Okay, now it's the time to move on. Similarly, now it's the time to move on from the tolerance level of Indians is quite different. Maybe it has evolved. It is quite different from the Indians of 1952. So the change is required. Now, what is this CBFC? Central Board of Film Certification. Okay, so it's a statutory body responsible for certifying films for public examination. Okay, you can make a film, you have all the right to make a film, but that will be exhibited in front of the public, that will be shown to the public only when this particular body allows it to be public. Okay, so this is the primary role of this particular body. It operates under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India. Okay, this is an important information because there have been questions in prelims. Every year 4 or 5 questions have been repeatedly asked that this particular body belongs to this particular section, this particular body belongs to this particular ministry. Okay, so generally it has been believed that whenever UPSC asks something like this, so it is generally wrong. Agar इसे कहा जाता था माई बाप वाले question. Okay, so they are considered wrong. Only वाले question would be wrong. Okay, so but now everything has been changed. Okay, जज्बात बदल गए, हालात बदल गए. Now you have to be very particular about your things. You have to be very particular about the facts. Now the CBFC's primary role is to review and rate the film. Okay, there are two roles of CBSE. One is to review and rate the film based on their content, and second is to ensure that the film adheres to the guidelines and principles laid down in the Cinematography Act of 1952, which will be changed with the Cinematography Amendment Bill of 1953. So okay, so and this particular body, which has been for sometimes it has been criticized because it also says that this is a particular law and we have to abide by the law. That is why we are changing the law to cater the times, to cater the present times. Okay, now the key provisions of Cinematography Amendment Bill 2023. So there are broadly 4 key provisions. We'll look them one by one. One is anti-piracy provision. Okay, so the bill aims to deter piracy of the films by imposing strict penalties on the individuals involved in it. And what kind of strict penalties? So there are broadly two kinds of penalties. One would be the imprisonment, a jail term, and this jail term would be of 3 months to 3 years, and another would be a fine of ranging from 3 lakhs to 5% of the audited gross production cost. Okay, so if there is a film, if there is Pathan, if there is Jawan, if there is Robot, or a film like this which has been produced with a cost of 100 crores, 150 crores, okay, so the 5% of the film would be around, gross production of that film would be around 5 crores. So be ready to give this amount to the CBFC and to the governments if you are thinking to pirate something. So this is one thing. Another thing is expansion of the copyright coverage. So it aims to extend the coverage of the Cinematography Act of 1952, because earlier we talked about this also, that earlier it was only about restrictions, okay, but now they are also covering provisions of copyright. They are also catering the intellectual property right questions, okay. So it aims to extend the coverage of Cinematography Act 1952, which was primarily focused on censorship, to now encompass copyright protections, okay. And this moves aligns with the evolving landscape of the film distribution and aims to safeguard the intellectual property rights of the filmmakers and the content creators. Now it has been repeatedly said that suppose there is a film, okay, suppose there is an idea which has been crafted, which has been produced somewhere down in south, okay, or somewhere in the northeast, and then it has been taken, then it has been copied by a big superstar with a big production name somewhere in north, somewhere in south, okay, but no one is going to how would that particular person is having this advantage, or how would that particular person approach to the court of law against these big production houses and these big superstar names, okay. So that is why these were the concerns, and they have been addressed in this particular bill. And there have been instances when there was a script which is exactly ditto same, and 2 production houses made a same film on it, and if this happens, someone is there who is lying, someone is there who copied someone other's script, but because there was no provision regarding copyright and intellectual property rights, so it was just, there was no law, so people were taking care of it, and people were making their things अपने हिसाब से सारे काम कर रहे थे, but now it has been taken care of. The 4th point is government's limited powers over CBFC. Okay, now it has been criticized that government is, at some point in time, government is controlling CBFC. But in this particular bill, it has been taken care that the role of government over the CBFC is limited. It emphasizes the autonomy of Central Board Film Certificate, CBFC. The government may no longer have revisional powers over the CBFC decisions, okay. If there is something which CBFC has decided, then government would not be having any power that they say, okay, look into the matter again, look into the matter twice or thrice, okay. If there is something which has been said by the CBFC, if there is a decision which has been passed by this board, then there is no going back, okay. And this is something which has been proposed, which has been recommended in this case law also, in this judgment also, which is KM Shankarappa versus Union of India. KM Shankarappa versus Union of India. In this case, the court has said that the union government or the government should not have the revisional powers over the decisions of CBFC. Okay. Now, some other provisions of this bill: age rating. The amendment bill introduces a new age rating system for the films that requires adult supervisions. Okay, and the adult supervision. So this UA ratings or the universal adult rating, ये जो दी जाती है, this has been given in 3 terms. This current UA rating, which covers a broad age range, will be split into 3 distinct categories, and these will be UA 7+ years, UA 13+, and UA 16+. Okay, so here it is expected that all these children who are under this age group, 7, 13, 16, they'll go to watch the movie, or they'll take the permission of their guardians or their parents to watch the movie. Okay. Now, this new classification system aligns with the graded age classification implemented in streaming platforms under the IT rules 2021 and Shyam Bengla Committee 2017. So there have been recommendations by this particular committee, and the IT rules of 2021 also says the same. And now with the making of this bill, and if this bill is going to be an act, and when this bill becomes an act, it will be in sync with the current ideas. Okay, let's move forward. Now the significance of this particular bill. What's the significance of this particular bill? So the proposed amendment would make the certification process more effective and in tune with the present times. The times have changed. It was an act which has been proposed and passed in 1952, but today we are in 2023. So we have to act according to the new times, because AIs, everything has been coming, and the scope of copywriting, the scope of copying things is quite easy nowadays. So you have to take care of this thing also. It will comprehensively curb the menace of film piracy and thus help the faster growth of the film industry and boost the creation of the sector. Now what happens is, suppose if a film has been made, okay, and best how much could it earn? 203 on an average. If there's a very good film, it earns 100 crore, 200 crores rupees. Okay, but on the very first day, we all are aware of this fact that it will be released on torrent. If there's something which has been released on Netflix or on Amazon or on an OTT platform, then it is a sure shot thing that it will be released within 3 to 4 hours on these streaming platforms, on these VN platforms. Okay, and even it has been released in the theaters, then also it is a surety that within 2-3 days, 4 days, it will be released on this particular platform also. So when it happens, the cost, the earning of that particular company or the earning of that particular film goes significantly down. And when this happens, when they are having less earnings, then the people who are associated with it, because it has been repeatedly said, when a film fails, there is not only an actor or a heroine or a director who's behind that film. There are more than 500 people, 600 people, 700 people. And if a film does well, all these people will get some share of it, be it in the form of salary, be it in the form of shares or anything. Okay, and if a film does good, or there are 2, 3 films, 4 films who are doing good, then the whole industry takes the advantage. Okay, so this is something, because of piracy, this thing has been hampering, this thing is getting affected. Okay, now the concerns regarding this bill, there are a few concerns also. Like everything, we have to mention some positives of a bill, some positive of any particular topic in our main success writing, and for just to be a aware citizen, we have to look into a thing with the positive aspects and with the negative aspects also. Okay, so there are few concerns with the bill also. So the content on OTT platform is not covered in this bill. And what if an uncensored film is put on OTT? What is this what if? OMG 2 directors have been saying that there have been 27 cuts in our films. Okay, now there is something which CBSE doesn't want us to show to the public, but we will use the power of OTT, we'll use the power of these streaming platforms, and we'll release the OMG 2 movie uncut. Okay, so the government has to decide if it is something wrong and they really consider it wrong, or they really consider it that this is not good for the society, then there is a loophole. Okay, if you're thinking that what has been done is correct and what has been done is done in a correct spirit, there is a loophole. There is a loophole called OTT. Okay, and now it's a different matter altogether. Now it's a different debate altogether, whether what has been considered wrong on the part of the government, on the part of the CBSE, is actually wrong or right. Okay, that's a debate and a matter of some other day, or it will take us another session to discuss about that. But there is a loophole which has been talked about. Second is the age-based criteria is self-regulatory. It lays the responsibility on the society and the parents and the guardians. Okay, now it has been said that we are allowing the parents and the guardians to look after their children. We will not stop the children to go into the theaters. But if there is something which is wrong, if there is something which according to the government, according to this board, is something which shouldn't be seen by the people, which shouldn't be seen by the children, then there is a loophole. Okay, so these are the 2 loopholes which we talked about, and we also talked about many good things about this particular amendment bill and how it evolved, not only from 1952's that particular act, but also for the first time when this bill has been tabled in 2019. Since then it has been modified. To cater the present times. The present day is different from 2019's time, because in today's time there is an artificial intelligence boom. There is ChatGPT, there is Bard, there is everything which can copy, which can copyright, which can have copyright infringement and issues related to that. Okay, so this bill tried to solve all those things, and we tried to discuss it in length. We'll meet in the other class. Until then, take care. Bye bye.